and the viewers. Right. Good morning. Anyway, you're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
some UFC fighter there. Yeah, Jalf. You're getting all the best clobber, as they would say, aren't you?
Yeah, you kind of go into certain events and they have some cool things, so you might as well buy. They're all discounted, by the way. Buy one, get one free situations.
I don't believe that. Having been to some of those events, and actually just talking about events, having been to I was at the Battle of the Baddest, and everything was like
Unbelievable.
expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
crazy. Unnecessarily expensive, really.
It is. It is. And anyway, you're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live on our weekly radio show and online.
Each week we'll try and bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
We'll be talking shop quite literally and not just corner shops. So they're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can't help. We can't help. Gosh, Jeff, week 2 of 2024, and it feels as if we've been here for years.
Well, it's going to be one of those things, Ammar, and we've said this for many years. The year is going to go so fast, and the seasons are going to change so quickly. We'll soon be into spring, then the summer, autumn, and then next thing you know it's going to be Christmas again. So that's how quickly things are going to move. But I guess understanding that, we probably need to fit in much within our diaries in terms of outputs and work, knowing that the week is going to move super fast.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. And there's so much going on. Really interesting world events. You know, South Africa, as an example, went to The Hague. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the you know they'd gone there to highlight and ask The Hague to intervene, alleging that Israel was committing genocide. It was supported by a few other countries as well. And then Rishi Sunak had a surprise visit to the Ukraine, committing another £2.6 billion of our taxpayers' money to the war.
Yeah, it's outrageous. The war that Ukraine have already lost. I mean, you know, yesterday I could see the Ukrainian soldiers leaving and saying that, look, that's it. We're leaving that particular post. Go back. I would suggest go back to your homes and then go and hold your MPs and presidents accountable, and everyone that's responsible within your nation, hold them accountable, as opposed to losing your lives, because that's all that's going to happen, because Russia are on the front foot. They've absolutely battered Ukraine, backed by the NATO.
I mean,
well, that's the case.
Regardless of Israel, or regardless of the Israel or Palestine situation, or Russia, or indeed Ukraine.
Well, Yemen last night.
Innocent people have died. Innocent people have died, and that's what is quite sad.
And last night, Ammar, they recalled Parliament, didn't they? And they've decided to go to war with Yemen. and overnight, I think there's been
Yeah,
lots
I've
of
seen that, and that's another interesting, almost proxy type war. And it's really sad that the UK and the US have decided to start, and that's going to then spill out, right? Because Iran inevitably is going to get involved, and various other countries are going to get involved. There's it feels and obviously totally impartially as impartial speakers and radio hosts here. We have no political, religious, or sporting views. We don't take sides. Although the Sunderland match, Jeff.
No, I don't think that's quite the case. I do take a side. I take a side on justice, morality. I take a side. I take the side of no to war. I take a side to no to innocent lives being lost. So I can't just sit there and say that I don't take a side, because I genuinely do take a side. And I've just said what my side is. So, and there is a side that opposes that, because there's the powers that be that feel that, yeah, they can go to war and they can kill innocent people. And that's just wholly and completely and totally wrong. And if the International Criminal Court have the cojones, then they need to be able to do their, if you're a judge, then have that integrity and do your job as a judge without making make a decision based on justice, which is what you're built to do, but don't make a decision based on politics. And that's the basic things that any court, if you're worth anything, then you must make the correct decision based on the arguments that's put before you. So I think, yes, I understand that you don't want to go too deep and start accusing particular countries, because there's all of these things that you can say and cannot say, an A, B, C, and D, which shouldn't be the case. But yeah, we'll tread carefully what we say. But
And that's part of the challenge, right? So this fits into very neatly and nicely into that the inclusion by default conference that we've organized, and the campaign that follows and has been going on for quite some time. And interestingly, it creating a safe space and place. We should be able to share and have a view. I'm not talking about on a radio show, because we need to be careful and cautious, and we're regulated by Ofcom. But generally speaking, you're absolutely right. You should be able to have a view, and you should be able to share that view, as long as it doesn't go on to hurt people. And there's a difference between offending someone and hurting someone, right? But let me give you an incredible example recently. So we've got this inclusion by default conference going on the 25th of January at Kingston Park. And it's a full day. We've got some incredible speakers. We've got amazing facilitators. We've got lots of people turning up to develop an inclusion strategy. That inclusion strategy also, for me, needs to include the opportunity for people to have a view, to have a belief, to have a conviction, right? Why should I, as a Christian, have to forego my beliefs as a Christian, right? Why should I be forced to do that? Jeff?
you should not. You're quite entitled to your. Everyone should be quite entitled to their beliefs. I mean, if you go back to the history of Britain, Britain was built on churches. There's a church every X amount of yards, and I appreciate that.
I think that's
Society is
an amazing thing.
yeah,
I actually love the fact that we have so many churches, or had.
yeah,
I'm
of
quite
course.
saddened that some of them are now, coffee
Well,
houses, or some of
Britain
them
was
are
built.
soft
Britain,
plays and things
yeah,
like that. It's quite sad.
Britain was Britain was built on that, and that was the fabric of society. That Britain was what used to live on a day-to-day basis. And I think it's been systematically dismantled. And maybe it's those that don't want it to be dismantled and they still have those traditional views and they want to hold on to them, and they've got an absolute right to do so.
It's yeah, sad state of affairs is what it is. But anyway, the what's going on, Jeff, in the world
Um, well, obviously
other than all of these issues?
we've touched upon some of those big things that are going on. Beyond that, well, I think just talking locally, Ammar, we kind of fall into January, which usually is a very, very quiet month. And you can feel that because obviously Christmas is over, the shopping is done, everyone's kind of spent the money, and a lot of people that are on kind of on monthly salaries, they're going to feel the pinch for the next couple more weeks. So we're just going through that phase at the moment. But also next week, on Monday, is the beginning of the historic restaurant week, which does really, it gets thousands and thousands of people into the city centre, into the restaurants where everyone has a fantastic offer. So that's going to keep hospitality on its toes next week, because it is incredibly busy for most operators. Which then kind of nicely takes you into the third week of January. You somehow get through that, and then by that time, I think people get paid by end of that month. So I think you get back on track again. So, but I'm not too sure, Ammar, what the general. I don't know if you've managed to see what the figures are for retail and just the economy generally in December, and what the forecasts are for this year.
Yeah, the suggestion is that whilst in November the economy was performing, we weren't in a recession. It now is. That's a suggestion, and I'm hopeful, but don't know. We were doing a bit of analysis and research generally, and realized that there is a a, a, a major issue in regards to people's finances, and in particular organizations. Property prices are already starting to drop. Interest rates have had such an immense impact generally. The cost and the viability of house building and associated activities has subsequently meant that it feels like we're in a recession, and statistically we are. It's a mixed bag. So for certain companies, retail wise and things like that, they had to introduce their sales before Christmas because they hadn't performed as well as they had anticipated. Weather, believe it or not, has something to contribute to that, regardless of whatever your views are around climate change, right? The top and bottom of it is that the weather has never been as bad as it has been last year, and that's a matter of fact.
Bad in what way, Ammar? As in, it's been cold and wet and windy and stormy and
flooding, Jeff. We've
yeah.
never experienced that level of floods. Full stop. Yeah. So I mean, if you looked around, if you look at some of the news over the last sort of month or so, the number of yellow weather warnings. There was 149 yellow weather warnings across the UK at any given time. And people died. Literally, cars fell into rivers, people drowned. And the damage, the catastrophic damage to property was just, it's crazy. is what it is. So these contributory factors, obviously, the key and core aspect is the interest rate. It should have been raised sooner. It shouldn't have gone as high, and now it needs to be reduced quicker. It won't be. The likelihood is they'll do a quarter of a percent here, they'll do a quarter of a percent there. By that time, the impact would have already taken place, and lots of businesses and business owners and individuals will have failed.
I mean, it's having a massive effect on the economy, I think, from what I understand, in terms of property developers. I know property developers are looking to sell properties because they can't afford to pay the interests. So, I mean, so do you think, Ammar, that's going to filter into the property market quite quickly in terms of a reduction in property values and prices?
Yeah, it's happening now. So Halifax, Nationwide, and various others. Probably not Halifax because they don't exist anymore, do they? But
Halifax? No,
sorry.
Halifax. I'm sure Halifax is still there.
Yeah, they do. Sorry, that was my.
I hope they are, because I've got a few quid in the
I
Halifax.
get
If
regular
they're not there,
reports.
I'm going to be
You heard it here.
all my savings
You
from the
heard it
last
here.
all my savings are all finished, man.
Yeah. Anyway, Nationwide, who do a lot of tracking. I mean, gosh. So I've just logged on to the. Here's an example, right? I've just literally logged on to the Halifax website, right? And guess what your annual percentage rate on the front screen of a credit card is. Have a guess.
29.37.
55%.
Jesus, man. Honestly, it's
A
just.
bank? This is a
I mean,
bank.
come on. I mean,
55%.
I mean, Ammar, come on. I mean, remember when Wonga was doing mad things where the interest rate was something like 2,000% or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
This is if a high street bank, and there's lots more, and we're not picking out anyone in particular, but if a high street bank is charging 55%, right, and actually the highest 12 to 18 months ago, and none of the banks charged that. That was your more traditional credit card lenders. They were charging 29%. If a high street bank is charging 55%, and
I
no
think
wonder the cost of living and the cost of money. So the cost of money has gone up. That's it. As in full stop. If you've got it, great, because it's never been interest wise. It's a great position to have somebody in the bank. And if you've got enough in the bank right now, you maybe depend upon your lifestyle, but enough in the bank right now would be generating enough money, a good whatever it is, to keep you going.
from the interest that's coming in.
Mm.
Yeah, but I mean, whilst very easily the banks will charge interest, but in terms of giving interest on they'll only give it on particular accounts. They're not going to give it across the board. So it's a matter of if you do have some money in, obviously you have to move things around and ensure that it is in accounts where the interest rates, you get something a little bit higher. So you probably have to transfer it into a savings account from your current or something. So there's a bit of maneuvering that you need to do, don't you, in order to be able to benefit from the high interest rate for savers.
Yeah, you do. Well, I suppose, sort of all I'm saying is if you've got money, you're in a great position. If you haven't, it's so that the haves and the have-nots has grown quite
Wider.
incredibly.
That's getting more polarized from what I can see.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And the signs of that, Ammar, is probably you can see it in the the thefts and robberies and all of those things, they seem to be on the up from what I've heard. Even cars getting stolen is something that we've never been on our minds for many years. Kind of stopped, but I think that's beginning to happen a lot more, especially in larger cities, London and Birmingham. I think that's a lot more prevalent these days.
Yeah, undoubtedly, there's no question about that, and it's scary, is what it is. It's and it feels as if it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah, it does.
Is what it does. It just feels as if it's gonna deteriorate.
It does,
So,
but I was just going to say, Ammar, we've got a big talking about football. Did we get a chance to speak about the big victory against the Mackhams? I don't think we
no, I
did.
don't
Or
think
did
you're
we?
allowed to. I don't think
Well,
you're
we're not
allowed
allowed.
to.
Of course, we're allowed.
Oh.
So obviously we had big game last Saturday. I must say it was very well organized, Ammar. It was very excuse me. Getting to the stadium. What time did I meet you there? About 7:45 in the morning, and getting on a bus at 8 o'clock. We kind of made the journey. We stopped off at the pit stop was at Scotchwood Road, where they kind of congregated 20 buses, had all the police escorts, the bikes, and so it felt very presidential. And then the motorbikes
So
were
for
whizzing
everyone's
past.
benefit, we're talking about the Newcastle United versus Sunderland Association Football Club's derby, part of the FA Cup, is what we're talking about.
Yeah. So it was an away match. So the Newcastle fans made the journey to Sunderland, which is only a 10-mile journey. Should only take 20 minutes. But we had to get there get to the stadium, Newcastle Stadium, a good 5 hours, 6 hours before kickoff, because there was 110 buses going and the security was so tight. There was 2,000 police everywhere, and we were escorted all the way from Newcastle to the Stadium of Light. Thousands of police there on standby. There was a few Sunderland fans that were well cordoned off away from the Newcastle fans. Went in very smoothly to a nice warm welcome, and we got the result that we wanted. But I must say, whilst it felt very over the top, I think the police and the security, they did a phenomenal job, because there was no signs of any trouble. There was not going to be any trouble when it's that type of police presence.
No, but there was. I mean, there certainly wasn't any trouble between Newcastle and Sunderland, and I don't believe there was any trouble whatsoever from Newcastle fans either. However, there were incidences of Sunderland fans causing trouble and getting into trouble, which was quite sad, really. But it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it was a great day. It was a. I think some of the people that we were with had even highlighted. They forget how boisterous away matches are, but that one in particular, it was. So 6,000 Newcastle United fans appeared to be drowning out all of the 30,000 Sunderland fans, didn't they?
Yeah, of course, and that's always going to be the case when the momentum is with the team that's on top, and obviously we were in the game, we were scoring the goals, so it makes all the difference. And when you concede a goal, it's the same as St James's Park. When we concede a goal, it's very hard to then build the team up and get the noise back up. So I think we absolutely overwhelmed the Sunderland fans. Great day out, great result. Into the next round against Fulham away.
Oh, that was a. Did you watch the draw? Did you watch the draw? It was
No, I
like
didn't watch.
I was. Sorry?
No, I didn't watch it. We were the last
Oh,
ball
did you
out,
not?
weren't we?
Right. So anyway, I was watching the draw, and it was like it was almost like the national lottery, as in um, because there's still a few teams, a good few teams from lower leagues, and I was sat there, and actually I was just sat there by myself, getting incredibly excited about Newcastle's ball, and our ball was the last one to come out.
Was the
And it
last one
was
out?
like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, yeah, it was. It was, no, there was, well, I mean, obviously it was the last one to come out, but there was two balls left, and you knew one of them was Fulham, and you knew the other one was ours. And she went like this to grab one of the balls, and she grabbed the Fulham one first. No, she grabbed the Newcastle one first, and I was like, yeah, and she dropped it and picked the other one up. I was like, oh, because it
Oh,
would have been a nice game to watch,
home draw
at
would have been a
home is
good
the
home
point.
draw.
Yeah, yeah, and it would have been far nicer and better had there been a bit of lower league. It would have been a great match to
Well, of
watch at
course,
home.
of course.
Lower league coming to Newcastle. Big stadium, great opportunity for them, and then for us to do what we do.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, it's not the easiest, but it's not. It could have been Liverpool away, which would have been daunting. So, hopefully we can um, go to Fulham and work our magic and get a result. And the only good thing is Fulham have a big game only 3 days before, and hopefully they're gonna utilize quite a lot of their energy in that game, which might benefit us. Similarly, how other teams have benefited against us when we've had the European matches in the week, during the week, and then we have to go and play 3 days later. So Fulham play Liverpool at their home ground on the Wednesday, which is going to be the Carabao Cup second round, and they're 2-1 down. So that's going to be a very competitive game. And then hopefully we don't have a game in between, so we can be nice and fresh, and hopefully go and surprise them and get a victory, and get into the next round. And hopefully we'll have a bit more of a favourable draw in the next round if we can get through it.
Let's see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, uh, let's let's from a football perspective, it's interesting, isn't it? Because at the minute it's now time to get new players and whatever else, and um, you're seeing Darren Eales on the news explaining as a PSW, um, the standard for what you can pay for or what you can't, and how you buy players, and it's what is the financial term?
I mean, well, I don't know, but this financial fair play thing, it's financial. It's not
Yeah,
financial
that's
fair
it.
play. It's financial.
Financial fair play,
It's
FFP, or
financial. Well, FFP. I think it's financial unfair play. If you think about it, what kind of business
mm,
on the planet, right? That that stops you from. Let's say I buy a restaurant and I'm inheriting an old kitchen. I want to go and invest on changing that kitchen. I want to invest on getting a Michelin star chef. I want to get some of the best managers, an amazing general manager, a great restaurant manager. I want to get one of the finest sommeliers around, build a great team, and have a fantastic product. But financial fair play tells you, no, you're not allowed to do that, because you're then going to become a better restaurant than the existing restaurants that are out there who are part of our club. They're like the top 6 clubs, and we're not going to let you come into our esteemed club because you're one of the new kids on the block. So just keep your curry house, mate. Serve a chicken curry and pulao rice from back in the 60s, because that's all we're going to allow you to do so. And it's, in essence,
crazy, isn't it?
it's financial unfair play. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if you want to have some regulations, which they should have, I think the only regulations that they should have on new club owners is that they need to do something really genuinely positive for the community. Invest in the youth setup of the club. Have good financial management. So you're not going to take the club up the wrong path and then just wash your hands of it and take it to the administration. All of those things should be 100% in place. Look, develop the youth, work with the community, make sure the funds are healthy and you're committed. Other than that, go and spend as you wish within reason, because you have a right to build your club as you wish. I mean, look at what Chelsea have done, Omar, when there was no regulations. Did they do anything that bad? I can't see what they've done bad apart from creating a fantastic football club. It's the same with Man City. We've enjoyed some of the greatest moments in Premier League history. The Aguero's goal in the 93rd minute or something when they beat Man U on the final day of the season. That's because of Man City and the investment that they've made, and we're being denied having a club that could do a lot better and buy some more players because the financial unfair play are not letting us do
it. I find it extraordinary. Find it like, sort of, anyway, we can't have views. Of course we can
But
have
I'm just
views.
saying,
That's what this radio show is about.
surely there must be people that are sitting there saying, "Hold on, lads, we need to change this, these regulations. There needs to be fair because these are not fair regulations that they have."
Well, that's, yeah, and I suppose, you say surely, um, uh, the challenge is when you have established. It's a bit like the haves and the have-nots, Jack. Right? The
Mm,
haves don't mind if you have not. In fact, they don't want to have lots of haves, do they? As
mm,
in all of a sudden it then makes it quite an interesting space. So if you've got these established clubs who, have obviously got the income or doing everything they're doing and whatever else, and they don't want other clubs coming in and sort of being able to spend more than them and attract more. It's that competitive nature. So that then creates that element of unfairness, doesn't it?
mm,
I mean, one of the things from an income generation, the profit has increased or the turnover has increased by 39% for Newcastle United in the last year. So
yeah,
they got a bit more money to spend, but it's still going to take a long time to get to a point where they can actually spend what they would like to spend and should be able to get the players and perform where they rightly and justly should.
mm. Yeah, of course, and hopefully, I guess the fans have to be a bit patient. But saying all of that, we've had within 2 years the fact that we watched Champions League games and being in the Carabao Cup final has been amazing, and we just want that to continue, don't we? So hopefully, I mean, it's a great setup that they've put in place from Yessa right at the top, to Darren Eales to Dan Ashworth. Obviously, you have Amanda and Murdad, and then you have um, Peter Silverstone, along with Eddie Howe and the rest of his team. So I think the structure is absolutely phenomenal, and they're very, very serious individuals, all kind of at the top of their game. So um, hopefully we have a great end to the season, and you never know what can happen in the FA Cup. It would be just amazing if we went deep into that competition and managed to win it and somehow get into the top 4 or 5 in the league. That would be an amazing season.
Well, let's see. I mean, we've got quite a bit of work to do now. The fact that we're not in those other leagues and cups and things like that. It's I mean, if you think, Jaff, statistically, and I appreciate we've spent a lot of time on football on a show that's called Show Business. But we've talked about financial elements and such like, for the benefit of keeping with our endeavours. But let's see. I mean, one of the statistics was, that, we'd played, I don't know, 6, 7 games in sort of 4 or 5 weeks or something crazy like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. We played 10 games in 30 days in December. And we're going to play 3 games, or maybe it's 4 games in 30 days in January. So the level of intensity, just think about that, Ammar. That level of intensity playing 10 games and the level of intensity required to play 4 games. So naturally, that hopefully we're going to get players who are going to be fresher, who are going to have less knocks. The injuries are going to be better. So I think hopefully we'll see tomorrow, because this is the first time they've had a full week's rest. So against Man City tomorrow, 5:30 kickoff, St James's Park, under the lights. Let's see if we can turn the champions over, and that would be a bit of a statement if we could.
Yeah. Let's see, as you say. Anyway, let's. The reason why I was looking over here was because Martha kindly always produces a script for us, Jaff, that we sometimes follow, and obviously sometimes don't. So let's just do so now and share this screen. Let's push some buttons and rattle through this. So, where is it? Interesting. Why won't it share what I wanted to share? There we go. Let's do it now. Anyway, let's quickly do this radio show properly, Jeff, if that's all right. Not that I'm suggesting we haven't done it properly up until now. Good morning, listeners. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf,
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
and each week we'll try and bring some views, news, and 1 or 2 clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops, whether you're starting a business, having an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can help. We can help. And we do help. So, this week's headlines. The post office scandal. Have you watched that documentary, Jeff?
I've watched little bits and bobs. So, I mean, in a nutshell, has Keir Starmer basically imprisoned lots of people that shouldn't have been in prison, something like that?
Was Keir Starmer?
Yeah, I think he was like the head of the
Attorney General. Was
yeah,
he
he was.
really? All right, okay,
Yeah,
that's interesting. Anyway, so the point being, and we talk about injustice, and we talk about fairness and equal opportunities and things like that. 20 odd years this has gone on. It's worth watching. It's a drama, actually. It's not a documentary. And it's worth watching because of how it demonstrates the power of powerful organizations and the public sector, right? So postmasters, sub-postmasters got a new system in IT system, and it started having errors, and lots of sub postmasters had to then were told that there was money missing, and it was because of these system errors, and hundreds of them were then prosecuted. They had to pay back, issue like thousands of pounds, bankrupt, suicide, prison, all of this, and every single one was told they were the only one that was experiencing this issue. And now there's records of some of the post office being told that they were encouraged to pursue people, and they were targeted and things like. Anyway, it's outrageous what's happened, but it's took 20 odd years. People have lost their lives, people have gone to prison, people have been convicted, and it's actually this drama that's only brought it to the fore. It's extraordinary.
It's shocking.
Outrageous. But then
Absolutely.
I sit and think, Jeff, I sit and think of, are there and is there, and in fact, we know ourselves there are similar, maybe not at this scale and maybe not at this impact, but similar type of injustices that have occurred in the public sector, from licensing to regulation to, individuals. So local authorities have the power to take someone to court themselves and prosecute them.
Mhm.
And this individual has no legal expertise, no legal
Yeah,
qualifications,
yeah.
but they're allowed to.
Mhm.
And these things can go through the courts. The courts go, well, that's the local authority. Of course, they're going to be right. There's an Asian person. He's obviously a criminal. He's going to be wrong. And then it has to go to a high court judge who goes, I know the law, and actually, the law says this is not right. But
Yeah.
imagine if someone didn't have the gumption to do that, and there's so many examples of this, so many examples of this. And it's outrageous that
Mm.
this type of thing happens. And in particular, race and things like that become a contributory factor. Anyway, that was
Terrible.
that. Michael Carrick hugely proud as Middlesbrough beat Chelsea in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, well, it's the first leg, so hopefully they can go and get a result in the second leg and get through into the final.
I think that's amazing. Although I get this distinct impression that Martha might be a Sunderland supporter, because in our headlines, there's not any mention of Newcastle United beating Sunderland. But we've got a message here about Middlesbrough. And 2023 confirmed as the world's hottest year on record.
Well, it didn't feel like that to me.
Yeah, where's the sun when you need
Yeah.
it? Anyway, the business topic of the week, really interesting. Jeff, have you had any experience around artificial intelligence?
Not greatly, to be honest.
Okay. Well, it's transformative, it's amazing, and actually we're adapting and adopting it more and more. Like every day, every week, there's it just productivity and everything else. Anyway, business topic of the week, the impact of artificial intelligence on small businesses. So, in the ever evolving landscape of technology, artificial intelligence or AI has emerged as a transformative force, reshaping industries and revolutionizing the way businesses operate. Small businesses, often seen as agile and adaptive, stand to gain significant benefits from integrating AI into their operations. Artificial intelligence encompasses a range of technologies that enable machines to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, from machine learning algorithms that analyze data to natural language processing systems that understand and generate human language. The applications of AI are diverse and impactful. Automation for efficiency. So small businesses harness the power of AI to automate repetitive tasks, ranging from data entry and invoice processing to inventory management. So just from a restaurant perspective, your stock and stock control and everything else could be very easily managed and processed by AI. There's some great systems. You upload what you've bought, it automatically tracks using your till and whatever else, and your EPS or your POS, whatever it is that you use. It tracks everything that you've done. It can measure all of that. It can suggest efficiencies and everything else. It's amazing what it can. It's transformative what it could do. It could improve, the profit margins and the efficiencies and the sustainability of your business. This not only streamlines operational workflows, but also minimizes the risks of errors associated with manual tasks. So you're not sat there with these receipts, ticking that off and doing this and manually doing all of these things. The resulting efficiency allows employees to redirect their efforts towards strategic initiatives, fostering innovation and growth. Two, enhanced customer engagement. AI driven chatbots and virtual assistants revolutionize customer interactions for small businesses. These tools go beyond basic customer service, offering personalized recommendations based on past interactions and purchase history. This level of customization not only enhances customer satisfaction, but also cultivates long-term relationships, contributing to customer loyalty and repeat business. Data-driven decision-making, small businesses tap into analytical capabilities of AI to glean actionable insights from vast data sets. So you've got all of this information, right, Jeff? Someone makes a booking, someone sends the email, you're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on LinkedIn. It aggregates all of this information, building a unique picture for you to look at. And by looking at it, you can then go, all right, all of the bookings come at this particular time, or our telephone we miss. And I don't know whether you know this or not. Do you have call waiting on your telephone?
Yeah,
Do you? I don't think you
yeah.
have.
I think we do have. I think his system's not the best in Jasmine because it's a digital system, and I think it's terrible, to be honest. It, I don't know. It's not the best.
Anyway, all I'm saying is if it was all digitized, you'd be able to see how many customers couldn't get through, so they've gone somewhere else or whatever it is. That's part of the benefits of digitizing and using AI and things like that. Anyway, you can develop personalized marketing strategies. AI transforms marketing strategies for small businesses by enabling highly targeted and personalized campaigns. Machine learning algorithms analyze customer preferences, online behavior, and demographic data to deliver tailor-made content. This not only increases the relevance of marketing efforts, but also enhances conversion rates, driving tangible results from marketing investments. Strengthened security measures. So, in an era marked by escalating cyber threats, small businesses turn to AI for advanced security measures. So AI can help protect and support you, and the impact of artificial intelligence on small businesses is transformative, offering unprecedented opportunities for growth and efficiency. Embracing AI technologies can position small businesses as innovators in their respective industries, driving success in an increasingly digital and competitive business landscape. As we navigate the future, understanding and harnessing AI, the potential of AI, is not just a choice, but a strategic imperative for small businesses looking to thrive in the modern business ecosystem. Upcoming events, Jaff, we've got the Curry Club next week at Newcastle University Business School next Thursday. I think that there's only a couple of tickets left for it. It's almost sold out. And then going back to the beginning part of our conversation that we were having around inclusion, we've got the Inclusion by Default conference going on, is what we have. And it's quite exciting because we've got lots of people, lots of organizations coming together. Jeff, what does inclusion mean to you?
God, it's not an easy question to answer, but I think inclusivity is where everyone is welcome. And it could be as broad as that, regardless of color, creed, background, status. So yeah, I think you can be a part of any club that you wish. Whereas there's certain clubs you can't get into because they're not exactly inclusive. And you need to be a member, or you need to be this, or you need to be that. So I think everyone is welcome. Maybe it's probably, for me, summarizes what my thinking is on it.
Yeah, no, it's good, and I suppose because the interpretation for me is inclusion may actually mean that I'm not welcome. And I know that sounds incredibly contradictory, and it's not because I'm not welcome, but it may be somewhere where I don't want to go as well. so it's about respect as well. I think it's about respecting people's beliefs. It's about respecting people's religions. It's about respecting people's views and giving a safe space. Anyway, around this and going back to your point, what you can and cannot say, right?
Mm.
There was we're doing a lot of research and analysis um, on um, on um, inclusion generally, and we're looking at it from every perspective. But there was a significant business leader, right, who had been told they're going on an inclusion training day. So big corporates, big banks, financial institutes, they're all forced to go on certain training days. And certain people, where inclusion is, well, you have to do this and you have to do this. And if you're hitting people over the head, that to me isn't inclusive, right? That's enforcing, that's dictatorial, is what it is. You dictate what someone should do and what someone should feel. And that's not inclusion for me. It shouldn't be a case of you have to think like this and that should be your view. I think that's quite wrong. Anyway, this individual, this senior executive in a large corporation, went on a training day and an external trainer was there training them. And during part of the conversation, it came up and they were talking about language and using words and whatever else. And this leader turned around and asked, why do black people use the N word themselves?
Mm.
Right? So why do black communities, in what context or whatever it is, and and the person who was delivering this inclusion training took offense. And the person and this leader got sacked.
Well, just for asking the
for
question.
asking. Well, he must have mentioned the word, the N word,
Okay.
right? I mean, we can't use the N word, can we? I don't know whether you can or you can't. The point is, people find it offensive, but yeah, anyway,
But
he used the
can I
N
just
word.
ask, Ammar, if you use the N word, but you may use the N word as an NEGRO, is that acceptable? Because that's the actual
NEG.
dictionary term.
Listen, I'm not I'm not uncomfortable with any word you use. In fact, some of the words that you use are outrageous. But as to whether we would use them publicly or whatever else, is
Yeah.
and this is the point, right? You should be able to ask a question. You should be able to even use a word to without someone going, "Oh my gosh!" So this person got sacked from their 30-year career job. And the tribunal eventually decided, well, that was outrageous and awarded them hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of costs. This has got nothing to do with that. It was more, you're in an inclusion training program, and someone asks a legitimate question and uses a word to say, why does a certain community use this particular word? And then the person delivering it. So that's not inclusion, is it?
No, it's not. It's totally exclusion.
So anyway, the question becomes, um, part of the challenge is, um, how do you create a safe space? We've regularly talked about getting Tommy Robinson on here to have a conversation, and I think we'll invite him, is what
I think
we'll
you need
do,
to, Mark.
because I think it's
Tommy
yeah.
Robinson, Nick Griffin.
I'll
Nick
give him a
Griffin.
ring.